Excellent. So let's go into cryptocurrency. And remember, this is for the average person. The audience is the average person, they're not into cryptocurrency. So everyone's heard of cryptocurrency, everyone's heard of Bitcoin, all of this stuff, but can you break it down and tell us, just for the basic person, what is cryptocurrency? What are the benefits of it?
So cryptocurrency is the creation, the full-fledged manifestation of triple entry accounting. Dual entry accounting is the accounting system that they teach you in school, and is the accounting system that we have since the time of the Medicis. Dual entry accounting is the act of keeping a ledger of your transactions for your business and giving the buyer a receipt. So you exchange goods with receipts throughout the world, and that is the measure by which we keep track of money spent, right? So the creation of these technologies is really the creation of triple entry accounting, that with the science of cryptography, we're able to have a third entry, which is the cryptographic receipt itself. Now, these technologies did not just stop there. This cryptographic receipt is now shared by all members of a community that interact with this given digital asset. We call this a blockchain. So you no longer have to keep a personal account of what you should, right? Obviously, of what you sell or buy. But you can rest assured that there is a third party that is cryptographically secure and secured by all the computers in that network at the same time, that is updated X amount of time, X amount of minutes or seconds throughout the world in synchronicity. So that's what these technologies really are. Now, another way to understand these technologies is, when it comes to the world of digital assets, everyone here watching this is familiar with the notion of copy and paste, right? You click copy, click paste. Well, what if I told you that there were assets, digital assets, that you cannot copy and paste? And that cryptographic receipt that I spoke to you about just now comes forth from a series of mathematical equations and solutions that we call signatures, right? It's just a math signature. This math signature, as a digital asset, whatever it may represent, even if it's just that signature itself, because as we know, signatures are valuable, that in itself, you cannot copy paste. And that's the genius of all of this. You cannot copy paste. Now, the genius of all of this takes a step further when you realize that we are not dealing with a world of just virtual beings, but we're dealing with the world of human beings. And this is where Austrian economics, the science of human action praxeology, comes in. The creators of these technologies understand that and economic incentives have to be aligned with human nature in order for this new digital asset class to be functional in the world. The rules by which we live as human beings and the rules by which we interact with each other, they're not rules imposed on us, they're just rules given, innate in nature. And we acquiesce to those rules. For example, gravity, right? Some people don't believe gravity exists, but sure, whatever you call it, the thing that keeps me down, right? Time, right? I'm limited in time. There's scarcity in time. My space, my incorporability, right? I am here in this body right now. I am this body, right? I am this body, and I can't, or I'm in this body, however your idea of human persons is. I'm here, I can't be there. I can't bilocate unless I have special powers, right? My historicity, right? I have so much of a perspective that is limited no matter what I can do, there's nothing that can keep me away from the limitedness that I have as a human being. So we are constrained by things that ground us to this reality that we're in. So a good network in crypto is one that takes into account these economic realities that are very much at the root of what it means to be a human person. And in philosophy, you learn that you're only a person when you are in relation to another. In philosophy, philosophers that specialize in personalism, that's what they say. That if you're by yourself, isolated, you cease to be a person. You're only a person when you're in relation to another. And so it's interesting that the science of economics comes from a lot of these questions that philosophers would ask themselves when they would visit the text of Aristotle to say, well, what is it that gives you meaning, fulfillment, and happiness in your personal life? And then they would have a series of answers for that, right? And the history of philosophy is filled with that. But then the question arose actually in Spain, when during the scholastic era that the texts were brought in into the West of Aristotle, and the Greek text came in, and they're like, well, given what he's telling us here, Aristotle's telling us here, how do we reach happiness in an I-thou interaction? What is it? How should we practice? How should we behave? And what they discovered is obviously peace, love, harmony, freedom. And the key point was voluntary exchange. Voluntarism is really at the heart of economic thought. That you can have a peaceful exchange with another human being that is beneficial for both. Where now the heart of what makes society virtuous is not politics, it's not some top-down bullshit, some centralized authority at the Fed. No, what makes us virtuous with each other is the plaza, it's the marketplace, the agora. So anyone that is creating a cryptocurrency, or anyone that is partaking in the space in general, needs to ask themselves, is the network that I'm dealing with something that clashes with the reality that human beings live in? Or is it something that complements it? Furthermore, is it something that augments that reality that we are in? And the best of crypto networks do that. They respect who we are as human beings, and what they do is in our limitedness, what they do is that they augment our capacity. So now I don't only have to enter, I now don't, because of Bitcoin, for example, I don't only have, I used to only be able to enter into a voluntary exchange with someone that was like proximate to me, right? Anyone that was far away from me, I had to trust a third party to be some sort of escort or intermediary or arbitrator. But now with the creation of triple entry accounting, where there's a cryptographic receipt shared by all within a network, that means I can enter into a voluntary exchange that is person to person with anyone across the world at any time. So